Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 21, The Most Dangerous Game. Isaac opened his eyes to see the yellow mare sleeping soundly next to him. Her eyes fluttered open, showing their teal color. "Morning," she said with a small kiss. "How'd you sleep?" Isaac asked as he sat up and stretched. "Just wonderful," the mare said with a smile. The two then heard a tapping on their tent. "Rise and shine, you two," a familiar southern accent said in a tired tone. "Twi's got something important she wants to tell us," the farmer said as she left. "We'll be right out," Isaac said as he slipped out of his sleeping bag and threw on a pair of camouflage jeans and a dark green t-shirt. He stepped out of the tent to see the mares starting to break down their tents and pack up. "Did I miss something?" he asked as Twilight walked up to him. "I just got a message from Spike, saying that we need to return to Ponyville immediately," she said in a serious tone. "Why?" Fluttershy asked as she stepped out of the tent. "He got a letter from the princess, only he said it looked weird," she said with a shrug. "You do know that it took us 3 days to get here, right?" Dash said as she rolled up her sleeping bag. "That's why I have this," Twilight said as she pulled out a piece of paper with an odd symbol on it. "What's that?" "It's a warp gate. It acts like my teleportation spell, only it's for long range." "So why didn't we use it to get up here?" Isaac asked in a confused tone. "It only works one way, and the other end is in the library," she said with a sigh. "So hurry up and get packed." "Yes, ma'am," Isaac said in a half-mocking tone. After packing up his things and folding the tent up, Dash walked over to Fluttershy with a smile on her face. "Hey, Rainbow Dash, what's up?" Fluttershy asked in her usual timid tone. "Oh, don't try to act innocent on me, Fluttershy," Dash said with a smug grin. "How was it?" "How was what?" "You know," the mare said as she waggled her eyebrows and glanced towards the human. The yellow mare's face turned scarlet and felt her stomach jump into her throat. "How did you know?" "On account we heard you last night," Applejack said as she walked up to her friend. The yellow mare pulled her pink hair over her face in hopes of hiding from the embarrassment. "Easy there, Sugar Cube. We don't blame you." "Yeah, Isaac is a cool guy," Dash said with a smile. "I was just curious," the mare said as she put a hand on her friend's shoulder. "Come on, guys. We need to get back to Ponyville pronto," Twilight said in an impatient tone. "Calm down, Twilight," Isaac said as he finished packing. "Celestia is a reasonable mare. She won't be angry if we're tardy." The lavender mare's eye twitched, and she glared at the man. "I have never been tardy, and I don't want to start now," she said in a half-crazed tone. "Twy, take a chill pill," he said with a sigh. The lavender mare put the piece of paper down on the ground and waited for everyone to step on it with their bags. "Everyone ready?" Twilight asked. The group nodded and the mare's horn glowed a faint purple along with the seal. The group saw a flash of purple light and then found themselves inside the library. The lavender mare's horn stopped glowing and she started to collapse. Isaac and the cyan mare caught their friend before she hit the wooden floor. "You okay, Twilight?" Dash asked. "Yeah, it's just that this spell takes a lot of power," she said as they set her down on the couch. The purple dragon walked up to her with a glass of water. "Thanks, Spike. Now, what's so interesting about this letter?" she asked before taking a sip of water. "Well, it arrived here by a mail pony, not magic," he said with a shrug. "That's odd," Applejack said as she scratched her head. "Maybe she couldn't? Is there a range where she can't send letters?" Isaac asked. "No, she sent me one while she was in Griffonia, and that's like on the other side of the world," Spike said with a shrug. "Maybe she was too tired?" Pinky asked. "Raising the sun every day has to take a lot out of you." "Doubtful." The door suddenly opened to reveal the white unicorn mare. "Oh, I didn't know that you all got back," Rarity said in surprise. "We just did," Applejack said, still shaking off the teleportation. "Anyway, that's not the only thing that's weird," Spike said as he pulled out the letter. Twilight gave it a read and passed it around. "Twilight, I must speak to you and your friends on the outskirts of Ponyville immediately. P.S. Bring the human as well. Princess Celestia." "That does seem odd," Rarity said as she scratched her head. "Not to mention that she didn't use my name, just the human," Isaac said as he scratched his chin. Twilight got to her feet and let out a pant. "You sure you're okay? We can go tell Celestia that you weren't feeling well. I'm sure she'd understand," Isaac said as he looked at the mare. "I'm fine, I just need a minute," she said as she sat back down. "How about this? The rest of us go, drop our stuff off, and when we get back, then we'll meet Celestia, okay? We ditch our stuff, and Twi rests a little. Everybody wins, Isaac said with a shrug. Sounds good to me, Dash said with a smile. I'm fine with that, Applejack agreed. Alright, just hurry back, Twilight said in a flat tone. The group nodded and made their way back to their houses. Isaac walked along the road, and he scowled as a familiar white unicorn mare with an electric blue mane walked up to him. Yo, Isaac, what's up? She asked with a smile. Something you want to tell me, Vinyl, he said in a harsh tone. Sheesh, what's up with you? How about not telling me about your girlfriend? Vinyl bit her lip at the words. Yeah, about that, she said with a gulp. Isaac stood still with a blank expression on his face. Look, I'm not a complete lesbian, I'm bi. Is that supposed to make me feel better? You used me to cheat on your girlfriend, he said in a rough tone. Tavy knows. I told her that morning, and she's totally cool with it. Really? Even though I'm a completely different species? He said in a sarcastic tone. I think that's a major detail you left out, he said with a grunt. Look, when does this Tavy girl come back? She should be back in 2 days. Why? We, and by that I mean you, Tavy, and I, are going to have a little chat and resolve this like mature adults, he said as he walked past her. Call me when she gets back, and we'll discuss what happened then. All right, she said as she hung her head in shame. The man sidestepped the saddened mare and continued making his way down the street with his bag latched onto his back. Isaac kept walking down the road when he was approached by a familiar teal unicorn mare. Hey, Lyra, what's up? He said with a smile on his face. Not much. I haven't seen you in a few days. Where'd you go? She asked as she started to walk next to him. Camping with Twi, Dash, AJ, Pinky, and Fluttershy, he said as he got to his home. How was that? Isaac took a moment to choose his words. It was fun, he said as he walked inside. Want to come in? Yes, she said with a wide smile. The two entered, and Lyra immediately started examining things. Wow, this is so cool. I'll be right out. I just need to grab a few things and put some stuff back, he said as he walked down the hallway. Isaac made his way towards a jet black door and went inside. The room was large and circular. The walls had pictures of several men in uniform. He pulled out the black box and put the handgun on the side. As he pulled out a brown leather hip holster, Isaac pulled out the foam holder inside the box and loaded the gun and a speed loader before putting it in the holster. He looked around the room and saw several glass boxes lined in a row. Each had a folded American flag inside and a series of medals. He stopped next to the last one and saw a golden medal. Isaac was so engrossed with the medal that he didn't notice Lyra had entered the room and started to look around. What's this? Gah! Isaac said, nearly jumping 5 feet in the air. He spun around to see a startled Lyra staring at him. Oh, sorry, Lyra. I didn't hear you come in, he said in a flat tone. What is this place? My dad called it the War Room. It's a collection of my family's military records, he said with a sigh. My family dates back to the founding of my country. We've fought in almost every war since then, Isaac said as he started walking out of the room, with the teal mare following close behind him. The man rifled through his bag and withdrew his knife and clipped it onto his belt. Doubt that will happen again. What do you mean? I don't have a way back home, remember? He said in a flat tone. Oh, I'm sorry, she said as she held her head low. It's fine. I have come to accept things as they are, he said as he walked towards the door. Where are you going? For some reason, Celestio sent Spike a message wanting to meet Twilight, me, and the others on the outskirts of town. Why? No idea, but my gut is telling me that things are going to go south, he said as he turned to face Lyra. Mind doing me a favor? Sure, what? Follow us, but stay in the shadows, and if things go bad, get to Spike and tell him to send a letter to Luna. Can you do that? The teal mare nodded and ignited her horn, and her body turned invisible. How's this? She asked. Wow, that works perfectly, he said with a nod. Okay, keep that up for as long as possible. If things go well, which I really doubt, then you can just step out. I'm sure Celestia wouldn't mind. Got it. Lead the way. Isaac nodded and made his way back towards the library. The man motioned Lyra to hold back as he entered the tree to see the other mares waiting for him. Sorry, I had a little chat with Vinyl, he said in a rough tone. He then turned his attention to the lavender mare. You okay to go? Yeah, I'm feeling much better, she said as she got to her feet. Let's go. Celestia is waiting for us. Spike, stay here and watch the library. You got it, Twilight. he said with a salute. The group made their way out of the library and made their way towards the outskirts. Isaac looked behind him and saw that a faint shimmer was following them.